when you say you are who you say you are, it is only normal for other people to be like, psh, yeah, right. Which is why you need social proof. Well, good morning. Amanda here, and welcome to the Coaches Plaza live training. Have you ever worried that people don't believe you when it comes to your marketing, your sales, the conversations you're having, even how you're showing up in your networking? If you're not, because I got you today. And today we are going to talk about something that builds trust faster than a flawless funnel. Faster than a flawless funnel. Now, I don't know what a flawless funnel actually is. I've never actually had one. There is no such thing, in fact, right? There's always going to be a reason for people to bail on your marketing experience, whether it's your social media, DMing, doing landing pages, hosting webinars, whatever. There's always something competing for people's attention. So today I'm going to be sharing with you something that is going to really help, which is sharing wins. And if you feel weird about sharing wins and sharing client wins, if you don't know how to get testimonials, or you're worried that it's going to come off as bragging, then this week's training is for you, because it's going to just flip it all around. Okay, so here we go. I'm super excited about this, and we're going to jump into it. So let's be really clear. Most people don't buy because they have such a deep understanding for your very unique process. They buy because they believe that process works. Okay, so I screwed this up for years as a coach, and I struggled with it so much so that my team was always after me about how, we need more testimonials, we need more social proof, we need to be able to demonstrate this stuff. And testimonials are a very nice to have, but if you're starting out new, then testimonials may not be something that's at the forefront of your mind. So my hope today is that I can help you think about and talk about proof in a way that is going to serve you. It's going to serve your clients. It's going to serve your future clients, and it's going to make the people who are sharing that proof with you look good. So let's talk about social proof. And if you want to grab the replay of all of this, I always forget to say this, especially to our friends on the gram. We have a library of all of our past trainings available in our Clients Over Chaos community, and you can join by going to next5clients.com. That's next5clients.com, and you can join absolutely free, and you'll be able to catch this full training and the replay. Tell your friends. Okay, so let's talk about why it's so hard for coaches to really operate from a place of proof, and I think it actually has to do with the nature of most coaches. So most coaches, your nature tends to be very heart-led, very centered, very grounded. You want to take care of everybody around you. Otherwise, you probably wouldn't pursue coaching, right? There's so many other ways to make money. There's so many other ways to build a business. So I think that's amazing. And it's one of the very good reasons why you should succeed as a coach if that happens to be true for you. And it often carries with it this baggage about whether you are being humble enough, whether you're being too braggadocious, and it can leave coaches with really the only option is to work a warm network. I have a lot of people. It's so funny because I've been marketing online for my business for a good 6 years, really focused on more online strategies. And people see me doing that and they go, okay, well, that never worked for me. Or online marketing doesn't work. It does and can work extremely well. But the thing you have to understand is that the relationship is unfolding in a different way. It's not that you're not having a good quality relationship with somebody because you're meeting with them online. It's that the relationship has to go through the www, right? So that means that you have to say things more explicitly when you're in digital communication than you would if you were in person. Right? So I'm all for, hey, if you happen to live in a part of the world that you've got really great access to awesome networking opportunities, 1,000% use that, because that's a really great channel for you to get your first next client. The thing about it is you're probably going to be limited to private coaching. You're probably going to be limited to very, very intimate group sessions if you don't master online and digital communication, which brings me back to the central thesis of today's training, which is all about like, how do you capture social proof in a way that is going to be very supportive of your business goals, but is also going to be honoring of you as the coach and honoring of your client. And hey, I know what it's like to have your words taken out of context. You know, there was a big marketer, I guess fairly early in my journey, so it was a while ago now, but they took some of the things that I had said inside of a program, and they took a screenshot of it and they posted it on a funnel for a different program to demonstrate really incredible results. Now, on one hand, I was honored to be showcased, but the problem that I had, and where I felt like it was out of integrity, was they were implying that there was going to be great results from this new program, even though it's in other programs. So if that kind of thing has ever happened for you, then hey, I'm talking to you, right? I'm talking to you, because here's the thing. If you're not sharing your proof, then people are not going to see it if you're using digital channels for your business. Now, I found that with in-person networking, I didn't have to be walking around with 5-star reviews necessarily in my back pocket. Wouldn't that be so funny to just have your reviews and testimonials on a Bristol board? But seriously, like it really did make a big difference in my business when I could be more, really just own the success that my clients have had, and specifically the role that I played. Right. So I think one of the biggest challenges with social proof that I certainly have faced, and a lot of my clients talk about, is like, I don't want to overshadow my clients' wins. I don't want to take, credit for something when they did all the work. The thing you have to understand is that, yes, they did all the work, and yes, you should honor that. And you played a role. No one is going to give you a testimonial that doesn't mean like you played a role. And the truth is, no one achieves things at a higher level alone. They just don't. I don't, right? No one that I know of that has had meaningful material success in this world did it because they were just innately amazing. Okay. So you're capturing testimonial not to brag, not to take the limelight from your client, but rather to add more explicit communication to your digital properties, we'll call it, or your digital assets, like your website. Like maybe if you wrote a book, or you did a lead magnet, or maybe you're even just showing up on social media. Like, how do people know that you are who you say you are? The thing is they don't believe you. When you say you are who you say you are, it is only normal for other people to be like, psh, yeah, right. Which is why you need social proof. Now, if you're like early days, or if you're like, oh crap, I've been helping people and it's been a while, I want to give you a little bit of a process today on how to actually capture the testimonials, which I'm going to go over. But before I do, I want to also let you know there's other forms of social proof that make a really big difference in your success. So another form of social proof, hello Instagram, if you want this whole thing, go to next5clients.com. But if you want more social proof, this is for you, is that you have to understand that you're not an expert until other people say you are. I remember I went to a summit called the Expert Summit, and somebody said that from the stage, and the whole room just blew up in applause, because it's true. You're not an expert until someone else says that you are. And that's why people get credentials. That's why people get certifications, because those are basically like, it's other people saying that you have done what you said that you did, right? And like, I've got my plaques behind my head when I'm broadcasting live. It's the same thing, right? It's demonstrating this proof that someone else said that I did what I said I did, right? So you can use, your credentials and everything can help you with social proof. Another thing that can help you with social proof is when other people are engaging. So that's why I like look over and I'm like, hey, Instagram, hello, clients over chaos. That's why I'm engaging with you, because the fact that other people are engaging at the same time makes a big difference. Like, I used to be so resentful of that popular gal or that popular dude who just like, they could just walk into the room and everybody just poured all over themselves. And I felt like a wallflower. I felt like I didn't really have the credibility and I was super shy and I was like, all that imposter syndrome ick was going on. And, I didn't get it for the longest time, really. And it led me to feeling, I would say, maybe jealous or resentful or maybe even envious of their position, because it's just like they could just walk in and be fabulous. And I was like, what the hell? I want that, but how do I do that? And, so social proof is so powerful, because what it is it's other people giving you status and standing in the community. I like to say a leader is not self-selected. A leader is chosen by those that choose to follow, right? Like, it's not about peacocking around. It's not about being somebody other than who you are, but it is about taking full responsibility for, like, why Pikachu do they choose you? Right? Why do they choose you? And so if you can demonstrate that, if you can walk in the world with that, then you're going to get more social proof, just because people are going to choose to follow that. Now, when we add testimonials that are talking very specifically about how your ideal client got the ideal transformation and the role that you played in that, my gosh, right? Like, this is pretty much doing everything that we can do ethically, of course, to get the result that we're really looking for. Who needed to hear today that social proof is more than just client testimonials, right? Client testimonials, super important. I'm going to go through my whole process that I use. And I'm going to, if you're on Clients Over Chaos at next5clients.com, I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to show you how I actually turn that into something that I could really use in my business. And by the way, when I established this process, I didn't end up changing this process for 5 years so far. So this is like one of those, what do they call, what's recession-proof processes, right? Like, this is just one of those things that when you install this system into your business, I mean, you've got it and it's done, right? So let's unpack it. So the first thing is you got to know when to ask for a testimonial. Okay. So we're going to start with the when, and then we're going to move into the what. And I'm going to show you like how exactly on this training, no hold backsies, right? So first thing, when should you ask for a testimonial? The very best time I've found to ask for a testimonial is, surprisingly, very early in the coaching relationship. So something I used to do early in my career as I was figuring things out is I would just like wait until there was a better result. And then I would wait until there was a better result. And then I would wait until there was a better result and a better result and a better result. And it was almost like I was trying to store up the potential for that testimonial review. And I was like, if I just pour into this person for as long as humanly possible, they are going to get the most amazing results. Anybody ever done this, right? The honest truth of it is that your client's going to get results at the beginning. They're going to get it at the middle. They're going to get it at the end. So instead of limiting yourself to that someday they will have a bigger result that's worth reporting on, you want to report right away. So one of the best times in a coaching relationship is actually near the beginning. Like, I mean, within the first few sessions. Why? Because the novelty of the relationship is the highest. You're going to hit the quick wins right away. You're going to get some great results, and they are going to love you the absolute most. And what's really kind of cool about this season, this period in a coaching relationship, and do tell me if this is too geeky to like lay it out. The thing is your coaching relationship is going to have a sunrise and it's going to have a sunset. So it's almost like this arc. You can kind of imagine like there's this arc. And the thing is you're not going to really know like when is the peak of that relationship going to occur. But I can tell you right at the very beginning of the relationship, they are the most primed, the most engaged, the closest to the time of investment. They are going to activate. They're going to do the thing and they're going to get some really incredible results. So that's a good time to do what I'm going to give you a little how here. Instead of asking for a testimonial, invite them to a progress interview. Right? Invite them to a progress interview. What the hell is that? Well, when I realized, I was like, oh my gosh, we're making progress together. Like, who knows? I've had coaching relationships go into 4 years. So it's like, how long are we going to be, moving and shaking together? And like, how much are we going to win? Progress interview is just like at the time that there's a big win. So it's going to be probably within the first 2 months. Okay. The second time that I would bias towards inviting to a progress interview is after a big win of any kind. So before you ask for it though, make sure that you're celebrating with your client, make sure that you are acknowledging their effort. And when they acknowledge effort back, you can ask them like, hey, it's been a while. I'd love to host another progress interview. Would you be up to that? Because I want to tell and capture your story. And, I'd love to be able to share that story with other people so they can see what's possible for them too. And so many people will support that. It's not an icky ask as long as you let them shine first. Now, here's the thing. I used to be super scared of a no. Anybody else scared of a no? And I was so scared that like me asking for the testimonial was going to be really icky and sticky. And that's why I came up with the term progress interview. But I'm just telling you, like, that's not just coming up with something clever. It really is what it is. I've got some clients where I have progress interviews, 5 of them, right? Some of my clients, I had like 2. I've got other clients that got incredible results that you're never going to hear about it because they're just not comfortable with the idea of being publicized like that. And that's okay too. You see, when you as a coach are inviting to these progress interviews on a regular interval and a regular basis with people, they're going to be receptive to doing it often enough that you're going to have a lot to work with. Okay, so is everybody clear about all that? The last time that you might want to invite to a progress interview is towards the end of your relationship. So you're coming to the end of a program, you're coming to a major milestone in the relationship, you're not sure they're going to renew with you. The best time is to do a progress interview in the last month, right? So I recommend, like, when I do this super well, and I don't always do this super well, I have to add a lot of reminders into my systems to get all this to work right. But when I do this super well, I like to have the progress interview a good 3 weeks before the end of the coaching engagement. And the reason why I like to do that is because I want to focus the last month of our coaching engagement on the next stage, the next wins, the big things. We're either going to finish super strong or we're going to get activated into our next round of coaching together. Either way, I don't want to have this peter out baloney end to the coaching relationship. I want it to be a beautiful sunset, that everybody's like leaving that relationship smiling bigger than when they very first joined the relationship, right? Who else has that goal? Let me know. Okay, so here's what you do with the progress interview. So the first thing is you need to actually have space for it on your calendar. So my progress interviews typically take about 15 minutes, but I like to book 30 because very occasionally people like to tell me a lot of really good stuff. Okay, so we book 30 minutes. You label it progress interview. You can host it on Google Meet. We recently, as in like a few days ago, got rid of Zoom in our business, which is like a whole nother thing. Let me know if you have any questions about that. But you just need a software where you can capture the recording of the conversation. That's all that really matters. Now, ideally, you can set it up so that you are focusing and spotlighting on the person so that you're not visible in the recording. But if that's too advanced, don't even worry about it, because here's what you're going to do. You're going to record a meeting and you're going to facilitate the meeting by asking a series of questions that are designed to extract the conversation from the person in such a way that you'll be able to edit the video, to edit yourself completely out of it. All right, so here's how you do this. The questions that you're going to ask are going to be things like, what's your name? What program are you enrolled in? Right? You're going to ask, what's your business? And you're going to start asking questions about what was life before, what was life after, what was your biggest transformation, your biggest win, what were some of the surprises along the way, what were some of the unexpected positive things. What would you tell someone who was considering working with me, Amanda, right? What would you do? So you've got this list of questions, and if you want the list of questions, I've got that as a very special bonus at the end of today's training, but hold on for that. But you have this list of questions and you're going to interview. Now, there's one thing you have to ask your guest to do that's a little funky, it's a little weird, but oh my God, it's awesome. You're going to ask your guest to repeat the question in their answer. Let's just role play for a second. Let's imagine that I ask, what is your name? You want your guest or your interviewee to say, my name is Amanda, right? If you really think about how the mechanics of conversation typically unfold, if I asked, what's your name? I would typically simply say Amanda Kaufman. But if I go and edit that piece, then it just has me saying Amanda Kaufman. But if I restate the question in my answer, then it sounds like this. My name is Amanda Kaufman. Do you guys see how you get the little clips, right? So if I get asked like, and what is your business? And, in a conversation, I would say it's the Coach's Plaza. But in the way that you train your person to say it, and you can just ask and explain why you're doing it, I would say my business is the Coach's Plaza. So what we're doing is we're capturing clips that we can then edit me asking the question out and then get them to answer the question. Something else I also do at the very beginning of the interview is I let them know that I am going to be doing that. And if they forget and they just answer the question without giving me the beginning of it, I'll pause them and I'll ask them to do the question again. Now, in my experience, this does kind of make people a little more stilted and nervous. But after the first 3 or 4 questions that are very logistical, they start to get the rhythm of it, and then it's fine for the rest of the interview usually, right? It's so really worth doing because then you end up with video clips that are just them speaking. I promised in Clients Over Chaos I was going to show you how this can add up to a lot of social proof. So you guys ready? I'm going to share this with you now. So, and Instagram, sorry. I'm sharing my screen, which you will see in the Clients Over Chaos community if you are watching at next5clients.com. So as you can see, this is my website. I've got my standard details on the website. And then starts the proof scroll. So the proof scroll is video after video of people who are responding, and they're following basically that key formula. Okay. So once you have this video, it's really powerful because as you can see up here, we've got some text-based testimonials. You can use text that they send you. A lot of coaches are comfortable with just asking people to email them a testimonial and then waiting forever for that person to get back to them. I like to capture it on video because then I will have their testimonial in written form. I want to show you one other thing that's part of my proof scroll is that I have a lot of social media proof, right, of people sharing what they did. So I recommend, in addition to this progress interview, you have a repository, a file, a folder on your phone, however you want to organize it. But you want to capture those screenshots so that you can add them to your proof at different times during your marketing as well. Okay, so anytime somebody says something good, what we do is we use Slack because I'm working with my virtual team. And so it makes it a lot easier to just like pop it into one channel. And it's just check out what so-and-so said about XYZ. And, I drop it in there. So then anytime we're doing a project where we need to add social proof to what we're doing, we just go back to those same channels and we can grab the screenshots. Okay. So that's kind of the mechanics of how. Let's keep looping on this because one of the questions that I get asked the very most is, Amanda, what do I do if I'm new? What do I do if I don't have proof? Maybe I have proof over here. Maybe you've got like a career that you've been in for a long time and now you're pivoting into the new career. What do I do if I don't have any proof on the new thing? Now, I think there's a couple of schools of thought on this. Okay. So the reason why this is still a question is because there's really you can go path A, you can go path B, and there's a million other paths you can take. But in general, there's 2 major schools of thought. One is that you should just get out there with your offer as soon as possible and just sell like crazy without the proof. And that works. I've done it, right? It does work. And some of my best clients, it worked, right? And the reason why it still worked, even without the social proof, is because they had all the other things going for them. And they had social proof in other forms. So for example, they had, people who had already chosen them and that were following, or they had a pretty significant credential, or they had maybe worked on a team that was adjacent to the thing that they were doing. So there was still proof that they were who they said they were, right? So it was still there. It just maybe wasn't the testimonials from the new thing yet, right? Then from there, you just implement this progress interview scheme and you're going to have your proof. The other school of thought, and one that I think that more people should embrace, is do it for free or do it for cheap. But when you do it, you can set up the terms of your arrangement. And in the terms, you can say, hey, I'm going to do this for you as a beta. I'm going to do this for you as a test. I'm going to do this for you as a beginning thing, right? You want to know why I dropped Zoom? Okay, cool. I'll loop back on that. But you want proof. And so you're going to set up in the terms, hey, I'm going to do this. And I just ask that you show up, because when people pay, they pay attention. So if they're not paying money, they're going to have higher likelihood of distraction. So you've really got to say very explicitly, I'm going to do this for you, but I need you to show up, right, on time at the time that we say. And the other thing is, when I do a good job, I'd like to do a progress interview at the end so I can capture your thoughts and I can use that in my marketing. Would that be okay with you? And they say, hell yes. And you do a good job. And yeah, sure, that might set you back 6 weeks. It might set you back 8 weeks. It might set you back 12 weeks as you recruit people to do this. But at the end of 90 days, for sure, you would wind up with the proof, right? The thing about going straight to the sale that might not be appealing for a lot of people is you're still learning sales skills. And the thing is that I've personally found that because I was coaching a lot of people, I was more comfortable moving into learning the art of sales because I was sold already that what I was doing was going to work because I had proof, right? And I also had a really cool announcement this week that I wanted to share with you. And I have the questions that I ask in an interview, a progress interview, at stake. So y'all want to hear what I got cooking in the next few weeks? And this actually ties out to the Zoom question as well. Okay, super, super cool. I got a couple of yeses, so that's enough for me. I'm gonna dive in. I have been helping coaches with building systems to grow their business and to increase their capacity for years. Okay, so your capacity is the amount of time you have to work in your business, the amount of cash flow that you have available in your business, and the energy or enthusiasm that you have as you grow your business. So I've been helping people with that for years. And the way that I help people with it is a few key things. Number one is systems. I teach people the systems that I actually use in my business day to day to make meeting people automatic and to make connecting with people automatic and to build more relationships more quickly, but still very ethically and very responsibly. So systems, systems, systems. Systems are what let me take my hands off the keyboard, right? Systems are what let me close the laptop or get off of social media and go hang out with my kiddos or my husband or even, crazy thought, time with me. So systems are really what makes all of that possible. But systems alone won't get you to this place where you really get to experience the capacity, which is why I always teach high performance coaching alongside of systems implementation. So all of my clients are getting a high performance experience alongside. Here's how you can activate using AI, using automation, using the systems and the tools that are going to give your time freedom back and lower the cost. So you asked me, hey, why'd you get rid of Zoom? Because it was over $700 a year and I was already paying for the Google Workspace suite. And in my opinion, Google Meet is now finally as stable as the Zoom option. So I decided to save over $700 of cash flow. Actually, it was close to $1,000 of cash flow if you considered that it was annual. And last year we paid nearly $1,000 for Zoom video conferencing. And we already had it because we had Google Workspace, which has Google Meet. So that's why we made the change. And that's a good example of finding where can we activate more cash flow? Where can we streamline our systems to go into more of an all-in-one sort of a thing? Now, when I say system, I did not say I just sell you a technology. I think a lot of people are just selling a technology. And the thing is, the difference between just selling a technology and selling a system is it's like handing you a hammer but not giving you any blueprints, right? It's not showing you how to use the tool. It's not showing you how to use the tool effectively. And it's okay if you don't have like particular things. What I do that's a little different when I teach system is I teach you how to pull together your system using your preferences. So for example, I've helped people on Kajabi. I've helped people with ClickFunnels. I've helped people with Kartra. I've helped people with Go High Level. We're a Go High Level shop personally because we find that that's the most cost effective and most comprehensive option. And we call it Plaza Plus because we have added in our snapshots and everything into it. And we have our own tech team that's supporting and all of that good stuff. So we're way beyond the tool. We're more about the true systems. What's the difference? System is a collection of processes that have inputs and outputs. I'm going to say that again. A system is a collection of processes that have inputs that create predictable outputs. And so when we're teaching system, it's okay if you have different tools, right? It's okay if you have different tools. So long as you understand the process and you understand how the tool is delivering that process for you, you're going to get your capacity back. Okay. So I have lots of video and written testimony. It's just how much focus on that versus serving. So there's a great question like related to the core thing. And I'm going to tell you just real quick. I'm going to loop back on that question, Vicky, because it's really good. Okay. So what am I doing? What am I up to? I have a program called Level Up. Okay. And Level Up has helped dozens and dozens and dozens of coaches to achieve things they never thought that they could because we put the right systems in place. And what's interesting about Level Up is it's a gamified systems implementation program. Okay, so how's that for nerdy? So you actually earn points by working on your business, and you can use those points and spend those points in the game. And guess what? If you slow down on earning points. You actually lose that. And what's really, really fun about this game is you are not building your business. There's a character that is growing as you build the business, kind of like those Tamagotchis back in the day. So you're growing your busy bee who is going to grow with your business and with your business system. So it's a really, really powerful program, and it is in need of updating. Simultaneously, I had built my community called the Experts Network, which was focused very much, or has been very focused on, like I said, capacity, getting your capacity back. What I'm going to be doing in the next few weeks is I am starting the Level Up Academy. So I'm taking the Level Up program. I'm going to reshoot some of the content to add in the AI tools that we're now using and to refresh our tutorials so that everything is up to date for all of the different technology UIs that have changed. And we're going to bring these things together. So we've got Level Up, which is the system implementation program, and Experts Network, which is the community-based coaching program that I've used to help people with their capacity. And I'm going to be relaunching as Level Up Academy. So it's going to have all the best features of Experts Network combined with all the best features of Level Up with upgrades, because I'm reshooting the content considering the new world we find ourselves in with the different AI tools and everything. And it's all coming together, and we're getting started in just a few weeks. So I share that with you because I am looking for our first followers, our first adopters of the Level Up Academy version of the program. Now, if you're a past client, you can actually enroll in that program as an alumni for a very, very special rate. If you've never worked with me before, I'm still going to give you a special rate because you're taking a chance on the new version of the program, and I really, really value that. So for anybody that books a 20-minute call with me for this week to talk about the Level Up Academy, I'm going to gift you the questions that I ask in the progress interview that I shared with you today. So you're welcome to rewind and write down everything that I said in today's live. But if you know that you're wanting to sit down and talk with me anyway, here's how you do it. You just set up a coffee, and you can go to the link that I just dropped in the chat to book your time. Now, there is an investment that is required in order to do the Level Up Academy. And if I don't have enough interest, then I'm not going to do it, right? But I want to incentivize people who are ready for that help to move forward, to book some time, and to get that all locked in. If you've been spending money on technology for the last year or so and you don't have any new leads, we need to talk. If you've been building your business for a long time and it feels like you're spinning your tires and spinning your wheels and you're not getting the message right and it just feels like an exhausting endeavor, then we need to talk, right? And if you're on the gram and you want to book coffee with me, you can go to my profile and find the link there, or you can DM me the word coffee and I'll make sure to get you the link. Okay, so that's what I had for you. I wanted to loop back because Vicky asked a really important question, which is, I have all this testimonial stuff. How should I prioritize it? Well, one of the things that I love to teach is time blocking in our business. So if you find that you are constantly in service of your clients, but you're not being in service of your future clients as well as your current clients, that may indicate you need a shift in the balance of your priorities. So we start with looking at your calendar. How many hours a week are you spending on marketing? And when you sit down and you look at your marketing, do you see all that social proof that you've captured displayed on your website? Is it on your funnels? Is it in your social media? Are you leveraging it, or are you doing what I did for a long time, just hoarding it in a file, never to be used? So the real answer to that question is, where are you directing your capacity when it comes to the marketing? And if you don't have a marketing system up, at the very least, making sure that you've got your proof on your web page so that when people are looking you up, they can see that you are legit and you are who you say you are. I know. I love Tamagotchis too. That's why I designed the program that way. So Debbie asked, is this like the hub? No, what I was showing you was the website for the Coaches Plaza. I'm curious, would you guys like me to do more demos that show you Plaza Plus, which is the back end of my tool, and show you how I automate, how I build my website, how I put all of the pieces together? You want more demonstrations of that sort of thing? Okay. I mean, I'm hearing this pretty loud. What do you think, Instagram? Do you want to have more technical demonstrations of things? Okay. I love it. One more question. If I could show you one thing and one thing only over the next month, what is the one thing you want to learn how to configure in your business? Let me know in the chat. Just like, what's the one thing? Like, if you had this system in place, if you had this process in place, your business would take off, or at the very least, it would be less of a burden. Let me know what that particular piece of technology, or maybe it's just like an area that you're just straight up fuzzy in. Like, there's just, you're supposed to be using it, or you've heard about it, but you're not sure if it's a giant waste of time. And if you had somebody demonstrate for you how it actually worked, then it would actually work. So let's see. Content for social posting. That's a good one. Funnel design, how to actually do a beautiful funnel. I love it. How to capture emails, landing pages, sexy. Okay, super cool. And for those of you who are in the First 5 Club, we've got a coaching call tomorrow. So feel free to submit any questions by going to login.thecoachesplaza.com and submit your questions ahead if you have any. We're going to be meeting tomorrow at 1 p.m. If you have a friend that you would like to invite into the First 5 Club, that's the only way you can get in these days, is if a friend invites you. So shout out partner or DM me the word partner, and I will make sure that I send you the link so that you can send that link to your friend and they can enroll through you, and you get 50% of their fee when you do that. So it's a pretty sweet deal for the lifetime of the membership, by the way, not just the first time. So, this could be a good way to get some free coaching for you. And what else did I have for you? I think that's it. So I hope to see you on my calendar for a coffee chat this week. I'm doing it for this week only. When you book it, I'll make sure to flip over the list of the amazing questions you can ask in your progress interviews. Until next time, I will see you very soon. And by the way, next week, I am going to be out of the office. However, I will be releasing a very special exclusive training inside of the Clients Over Chaos community at next5clients.com. I'm going to schedule that to come out exactly at 9 a.m. on Monday. So you can look for that there and keep this appointment if that works for your schedule. But I will not be live, but I will loop back and I will be back online to check in with you. So thank you so much for joining. If you love this, say goodbye in the chat, friend, and we will see you again very, very soon. Bye.